Are we ready to meditate with Corey? Make sure you're laying down and you're completely comfortable. Today's story is called Girls Rule, because girls do rule. Now let me tell you all about it. The story is about a 12-year-old girl called Z. Z discovered she had superpowers. She knew from a very young age that she had the tools she needed to save the world. Z was psychic, which means she could predict the future. She would have dreams that showed her what was going to happen to her friends, her family, even the planet. Z was empathic, which means she had the ability to feel people's emotions. She knew what they were feeling. She felt what they were feeling. She was empathic. Z was telepathic, which means she could read people's thoughts. She knew what they were thinking before they even spoke about it. Z was super strong. She could lift a car off someone that was trapped underneath it if she needed to. Z was loving to all things. She loved animals, people, and the earth. Z was a cool chick. When Z turned 12, things started to get really interesting in her life. Her body started to change. She started her menstrual cycle, which means she bled every month and became a young woman. Z's body followed the cycle of the moon, which was really cool. She was connected to the earth, and when the moon was full, each month she would start her period. Each month when the moon was full, she became more powerful. This is when she discovered that she had superpowers. One day, Z woke up listening to a conversation that was taking place outside of her bedroom window. The birds were talking, but something was different. They were using words like people. The birds weren't actually using words, but Z heard what they were saying to each other in their language and could translate it into words. She understood the birds. She was listening to them talking about gathering worms, how beautiful the day was. They were talking about a neighbor's yard and how he had a fountain where they could go bathe. She understood all of it. It was crazy. She kind of shook her head as if to say, "Am I hearing things correctly? Can I actually understand what those birds are saying?" She got up, went downstairs, got some breakfast, and decided to go out for a walk, just like she always did. Her house was right there in the middle of a forest. She was very lucky. There was plenty of places to walk in nature. There was a stream down by her house, so she could be by the water if she wanted to. She started to take her normal walk, but it was very different this day. This day, she could hear the trees talking, whispering to each other as the wind blew through their branches. She could even hear them breathe. Trees breathe. They breathe in the oxygen and breathe out. And the oxygen that comes from the trees feeds the planet and keeps us all alive. How cool is that? But today, she was listening to them talk, just like the birds. The bees were having conversations. The trees were having conversations. The butterflies were having conversations. And she understood everyone. How cool is that? The trees were saying, what a glorious day it is today. They were also saying things that were quite sad, like, I wish there wasn't so many cars polluting the atmosphere. Sometimes it makes it hard for us all to breathe. She felt sad for the trees. And there was a sadness that came over her as she listened even to Mother Earth underneath her feet. She could hear Mother Earth saying, why aren't people taking more care of the planet? Why do people think that the planet will be here forever and a day? We have to take care of Mother Earth. We have to take care of the future of our Earth for our children and our children's children. That's what she was whispering to Z. She could hear her. It made her heart sad, but at the same time, there was also conversations all around her that were so happy. The birds were happy because they were simply flying in the sky. The butterflies were happy. The bees were happy because of the flowers and the pollen and how they could transfer the pollen and fertilize other plants and make the whole world pretty. She heard happy tales as well as sad tales. But she knew that this day was different and she would never be the same. Because from this day on, she knew that all of her superpowers had woken up. She was super sensitive. She had the ability to feel people, hear people, feel the planet, heal the planet, hear the planet. She had a lot of power in her hands. She had the ability to move mountains with her strength if she wanted to. Z was super cool. That evening, she sat outside on a chair, and she could even hear the stars and the planets in the sky talking back and forth to each other. It sounds crazy, but she felt like she heard beings out there on other planets, in the stars and the sky, all with the same intention, all trying to make Earth a better place. It was that day, that night, she discovered that there are actually beings in the world. Maybe we don't see them with our eyes. We can call them spirit beings. These spirit beings are here to help, to try and guide us and lead us, to show us a way that we can be kind to earth and kind to each other and love each other. She felt all of that and heard all of that from the stars. Z was no longer asleep. She was awake. Awake with her new superpowers. And she knew she had to do something miraculous to change the world and how things were going. What can I do? How can I save the world? I'm 12 years old. Who's going to listen to me? Who'll pay attention to me? No one's going to take me serious, were the first thoughts that came to Z. Why would anybody pay attention to me? I'm just a girl. And I'm just 12. I'm not even classed as being an adult. How would I know anything? She could hear all the negative talk all over the world coming at her, people judging. But you know what she did? She decided to ignore it. She decided to pay no attention to the negative voices that she could hear buzzing all over the planet. She knew she was a superhero. She knew she had superpowers, and she was going to do something to change this planet. No matter how small. Starting tomorrow, she thought, when she wakes up, she's going to make a difference in the world. Z woke up the next morning, and she knew she'd had a dream. She always had really powerful dreams where it felt like angels and guides and masters and friends far, far away were sending her messages, telling her how to save the world. She'd had these kind of dreams since she was very small. She never really told anyone about them because she wasn't sure if anybody else out there in the world had these kinds of dreams. But she always felt like people from different faraway places and planets were coming to see her and talk to her and even train her to show her how to save the world. That night, she saw exactly what she needed to do. She'd always been very good at writing, always been very good at creating things with her imagination. She was going to write a book. It may seem kind of small, but every single thing that each one of us do counts. Remember that. Z's book was going to be powerful. It was going to be all about how girls rule. Girls rule the world. Girls rule the planet. Girls have special abilities to save humankind. That was the essence of her book. It wasn't going to be about any princesses or any trapped poor women saved by a man on a white horse. It wasn't going to be about any of that stuff. This was going to be about how cool chicks are and how they can rule the world. She spent weeks writing her book. She even made the illustrations. It was beautiful. It was about a little girl called Z. She basically told her story, but she made it fun and interesting. And it had little stories all the way through about things that had happened to her during her life that made her know that she was special. Z's book actually sold millions and millions of copies. It took some time at first, but people started to talk about it. The word got round about it. Everyone heard of it. She even made an appearance on a morning TV show, talking about her book and her inspiration and how daring she was to write her story. The really cool thing about this whole thing was Z followed her dreams, and she didn't listen to all the negative chatter coming from her all over the world. And because of that, she inspired so many millions and millions of other young girls to live their dreams. Now, let me share with you something very interesting about this story and about Z. Every single woman on the planet, young girls, teenage girls, women all over the world have Z's superpowers. Every single one of us has the ability to do all of the things that Z did, that Z does. Sometimes our abilities are hidden and we don't know and we don't realize how much power we have inside of us. But I promise you, yes, you, I promise you, that you too have all of Z's superpowers. All you have to do is believe in yourself and start to practice those powers if you wanted them to come to the surface. If you want to be able to hear the trees talk and listen to the birds talk and have dreams that show you the future, all you have to do is allow those powers to wake up inside of you. They're right there waiting inside of you. Now, how cool is that? Okay, all my wonderful girls out there in the world, all the wonderful young women out there in the world, it's time to dream. Close your eyes and dream. Dream big. Don't let anything stop you from making your dreams come true. Don't let any negative voices stop you from making your dreams come true. Believe in yourself just like Z, and you'll make it happen. Now go to sleep. Dream about all your superpowers, and I'll see you in the morning. Good night.